The year is 1643. Across Europe, dark clouds of war loom over every rooftop, every field, every church. The 30 Years' War, originally a religious conflict in the German lands, has morphed into a brutal struggle between empires for power and territory. France, the land of grand châteaux and opulent courts, is caught in the tightening jaws of the Habsburgs. To the east lies the Holy Roman Empire. To the south and west, Spain, both ruled by branches of the Habsburg dynasty. Encircled, France cannot remain still. Under the hand of Cardinal Richelieu, France has intervened step by step, pursuing a pragmatic policy, allying with Protestants to fight the Catholic Habsburgs. But just as the crisis reaches its peak, dire news arrives in Paris. King Louis XIII has died. His successor is a 4-year-old child, Louis XIV. On the throne of France now sits not a king, but a child, and the quiet hand of the regency, Queen Anne of Austria and Cardinal Mazarin. The enemy does not wait. A Spanish army advances across the French border, aiming to seize the strategic town of Rocroi. If Rocroi falls, the road to Paris lies wide open. At this perilous moment, a 22-year-old young man steps into the light of history, Louis de Bourbon, Duke of Enghien, a prince of the House of Bourbon. No one expects that this young man, in the first battle of his life, will achieve a feat that will shake all of Europe. The Spanish army is no ordinary force. They are a war machine forged through a century of conquest. From the Battle of Pavia to Mühlberg, through bloody campaigns in Italy and the Netherlands, the Spanish Tercio is the very symbol of invincibility. The Tercio, a distinctive military formation, combines pikemen, swordsmen, and arquebusiers. In battle, they form tight steel squares, immovable in defense, relentless in attack, and, most crucially, unyielding under fire. For over a century, no army has dared face them head-on on open ground. At Rocroi, the Spanish are led by Francisco de Melo, a seasoned Portuguese noble and commander. He commands around 27,000 troops, including regular Spanish infantry, Italian and German mercenaries, and the legendary tercios that once crushed the Dutch in the north. De Melo is confident. He believes the French will retreat, shaken by the death of their king. He does not know that the young Enghien has resolved to confront him, not just to defend Rocroi, but to send a message to all of Europe. France will not bow. Louis de Bourbon is not merely a royal noble, he is brave, bold, and decisive. Though he has never commanded a major battle, Enghien understands that retreat would shatter French morale. He decides to advance with 23,000 troops, mostly seasoned French regulars, along with artillery and elite cavalry. On May 18, 1643, the two armies face each other outside the town of Rocroi. The terrain is open, flat, with nowhere to hide, no tricks, no fortifications, only steel, blood, and willpower. Enghien arranges his forces in a traditional formation, infantry in the centre, cavalry on both wings, artillery prepared on higher ground. He gives the order, attack before the Spanish can besiege Rocroi. As dawn breaks over the fields, the thunder of cannons erupts. French artillery fires furiously, pushing back the Spanish front lines. On the right flank, French cavalry charges smashing through Italian and German troops in a surprise assault, but on the left, French horsemen are pushed back, the Spanish counterattack fiercely driving the French into retreat. In the midst of chaos, Enghien rides to the front, shouting, "No retreat for France!" His cry spreads like wildfire, rallying thousands of troops back into formation. The French right, after routing their opponents, swings inward, striking the flank of the Spanish center. A pincer movement. The Spanish infantry begins to tighten into their Tercio blocks, forming a formidable defense. They fight with valor, firing, stabbing, charging, like the last warriors of a fading Roman age. Enghien gives them no rest. Artillery is moved closer. The bombardment pounds the Spanish center. Under this storm of fire, men fall in waves, but the tercios do not break. Evening descends over Rocroi. The tercio blocks endure until the very last hours. When the surrender is finally accepted, many Spanish soldiers weep, not for defeat, but because, for the first time in over a century, the Tercio has fallen on an open battlefield. Enghien orders a ceasefire. He walks among the fallen, men, horses, shattered cannons, torn banners, and bows before the captured Spaniards. "You fought like heroes." The Battle of Rocroi is a glorious French victory, not just in tactics, but in spirit. From this moment on, the star of Spain begins to fade. And France, with a child king on the throne, steps into a new age of resurgence. The Battle of Rocroi shifted the balance of power in Europe. Spain, the once unquestioned master of the continent, now began its long decline. France, led by Enghien, who would later become the Grand Condé, would rise to become the dominant force in Europe. And in the blazing red light over Rocroi's fields, one truth stood clear. History is not written by age, but by determination. 22-year-old shattered the illusion of Habsburg invincibility. And the child Louis XIV, still learning to speak, would one day rise as the Sun King. History had turned a page at Rocroi.